All right, good morning, everybody. I know 5-minute LDPM is below price. We've got some bullish crossovers, but I'm not going to go long um, until and unless we see a break of hourly LDPM and ES, because you can see how rejection, 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 multiple rejections off hourly LDPM. So although technically things look a drop bullish here, one, we did get a bearish close. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we push up to the 5-minute trigger, but all right, here it is. Here's that test. The reason why I'm not going long here, although obviously, we got bullish 5-minute LDPM crossover, got a lot of these bullish 5-minute trigger, looks like it's going to be the target. But because ES has struggled so greatly against its hourly LDPM, my plan up until now is just short every time price hits hourly LDPM, and it's been working. And so instead of trying to say maybe this will be the breakout above hourly LDPM, I'm going to retain that logic of, short every time price goes to hourly LDPM. Now, I'm not actually taking a short here, but that's what's been working throughout this entire downside, and that's what I'm going to stick with. So even though this does look like a good long, if you just look here, 5-minute LDPM, if you just look here, if you just look here, we even had a 5-minute bullish divergence. I'm still not going to go long until and unless I see ES make significant progress above its daily LDPM. I just wanted to show you guys a different view of LDPM. So this is using Fibonacci sequence. And in this sequence, you have, I think it's like 8, 13, 21, 33, 55. And you guys could just see how every time, it comes up to the biggest LDPM level, it gets whacked. So that's been working very well as well. Now, again, this does look like it could be a good long up to the 5-minute trigger. And it looks like ES is finally, after all this time, getting this break here. So that could be nice to see. That sets up a long trade on a bullish close above this level. So, very possible price can get up here, attack its 5-minute trigger. But I don't trust it enough to go long with price moving above hourly LDPM, just based on all of the previous rejections off of hourly LDPM. So even though things look juicy, and I've tried this trade many times. I've tried to time the breakout above hourly LDPM, because think about it. Once it does break out above hourly LDPM and the 5 and the 15 cross above it, price is going to push up all the way up here, which is a huge move on SPY. So even if I don't catch the initial move to here, it's a decent move. It's 80 cents, but it's nothing crazy. The risk is not worth it for me while price is below hourly LDPM on ES. If it gets that break above and the 5 and the 15 cross, then I'm just going to sit in a long until we hit 4-hour LDPM, which happens every time pretty much. Again, you can see over here, When the LDPMs are a little more spread out, it's easier for price to get through. When they're clustered together, obviously it's much harder. So could this be the one? Definitely. Sellers kind of overextend themselves on these gap downs. So possible that this is the time where ES finally breaks above hourly LDPM. But again, I refuse to make that bet that maybe this is going to be the one. If you guys want to take it, again, everything on every other chart looks like price is going to head up here. On every other chart, besides the ES chart. So you even have some bullish 15-minute crossovers now. So everything is pointing up here, but I just don't trust yet ES to actually break above its hourly LDPM. So could be this is the one, but that's not a bet that I'm going to take. But if you guys want to, it does look like price can head up to the 5-minute trigger. I just, I know there's still a lot of meat on the bone, even if I miss this initial long to the 5-minute trigger. So that's why I'm not taking it. But then if we get up here and price, fully establishes itself above hourly LDPM, which would mean 5 and 15 crossing above, then I could take that long up here. Now it does look like it's going to go, to be honest. 5-minute isn't coming up to attack price. So again, if you want to take a cheeky long here to the 5-minute trigger, that could probably work out well. It does look like this might be the one, guys. It looks like this might be the time we actually finally break above hourly LDPM. So this looks good. Looks constructive for bulls to get this bounce here, but I'm not going to take a long until and unless I see these crossovers. I've just seen it too many times where it looks like price is getting through hourly LDPM, like even just before here, and then it'll get whacked down. And with hourly velocity, you could see it's at its worst. So we're definitely going to be expecting a rejection off of the 5-minute trigger or this level, whichever one gives it first. Instead of trying to go long, I think I'd rather try to time a short up here, but I don't know. This is the first time we're seeing this, where 5-minute LDPM isn't even coming up to price. So this is like not a confidence signal either way. So based on these 3 charts, I'd say we're headed up to 5-minute trigger. But again, just look at the previous times that price went up to hourly LDPM. Since this downside started, we've rejected it. The one time we got these bullish crossovers, we were able to move up to 4-hour and even daily, which was expected. Then we rejected here, we rejected here and come down, we rejected here and come down, we rejected here, here, here. If I zoom in, you can see it a little better. See these rejections of hourly LDPM. And you can see another one this morning, and we're back at it again. So even though this long will probably work based on everything else, for me, I don't care to miss it. Like, it is what it is. Worst comes to worst, I'll get bullish above here. Being risk adverse, I'd want to see price prove itself above hourly LDPM. Now, if it gets above, expect next target 4-hour LDPM. If you want to take the long, doesn't seem too bad right now, but just sell it if 1-minute LDPM moves above price or if 5-minute LDPM moves above price. Does look like we're going to get up to the 5-minute trigger. I just watch 1-minute LDPM for like confirmation. Again, I've seen this happen before where things look good and then price just rejects hourly LDPM. So that's what I would say. If you want to take the long, I would stress caution, and you could use 1-minute LDPM as a stop loss. But if it gets through here, then we're going to head right up to the 5-minute trigger. Now, just to be clear, I would not expect price to be able to get through the 5-minute trigger. I think price is going to reject the 5-minute trigger. So that's where I would sell initially. Again, possible it gets through, especially if this is price breaking above hourly LDPM, then we're going to expect 4-hour, which is going to be a lot higher. So let's see if price gets up to the 5-minute trigger. 1 minute LDPM moves above price, assume this is going to end up rejecting. Liquidity is good, then 1 minute LDPM shouldn't be going below price. This looks like it'll reject off the 5 minute trigger and come back down if it gets there. The longer price spends above hourly LDPM, the more probable it becomes that we're going to launch up to 4-hour LDPM. $15-minute candle close above 15-minute LDPM. So that's a little bullish, but again, I'm just cautious of this hourly LDPM rejecting like it has every time in the past. That's why this long personally wasn't worth the risk to me. But again, everything else is pointing up to the 5 minute trigger. So now that price moved below 1 minute LDPM, it's very possible that now the rejection is going to come. So it's not a break above hourly LDPM until the 5 and the 15 cross above. Once the 5 and the 15 cross above, expect price to move up here to 4-hour LDPM. If that happens, we're finally breaking out here, then that's what we would expect next. And again, this is usually pretty nice if we weren't dealing with this 15-minute LDPM below price, but again, like I said, every test of the hourly LDPM has ended up in a rejection. So instead of betting on this time being the one we break, I'd way rather let it prove itself to me, get the 5 and the 15-minute to cross above, and then there's still so much meat on the bone to go long up here. To go long here with the 5-minute trigger right above with the worst hourly velocity print, everything spells rejection. Now, if price can make progress above 15-minute LDPM here, then the odds of us getting this bullish crossover skyrocket. So you have to wait to see how 15-minute LDPM reacts. If this purple line starts shooting downwards more, then the odds of us breaking through here go up immensely. But if LDPM on the 15 moves back above price, then again, assume this is coming right back down. Let's go back to the 5-minute view. So yeah, here's your bullish crossover. You already got 3 nice candles of price improvement. And when 5-minute LDPM, when the rest are bearish, you can't expect too much of a price boost from 5-minute LDPM. You can expect a nice price boost. You'll get it every time there's a bullish crossover, but you don't, when the rest of the higher time frame LDPMs are bearish, you can't expect a huge boost just from 5-minute LDPM. 15-minute LDPM, you could expect a bigger boost. And, we did get that crossover. So we did get this bullish crossover right here. But they're pretty tight still. This has the makings of it could get up to the 5-minute trigger, but I don't know about anything more than that. So we'll see if we go right into our price target. Again, this is constructive. This is the longest time it's spent above hourly LDPM. So this may be it. This may be the break that we've been waiting for a long time for. It's maybe the break that takes us bullish. Yeah, it looks like it's getting through hourly LDPM here. So that's a pretty productive sign. For bulls, this is a very productive sign. So yeah, I would say this is going to be the price target right here. Now you could see price making more improvement above 15-minute LDPM. See price making more improvement above hourly LDPM. And some of these to contend with, but we'll see if this is it. Again, this long isn't for me. If you want to take it, got no problem with that. But I wouldn't be surprised to see price get up there. I can't trust a break above hourly LDPM until I see 5 and 15 cross above. Once I see that, then I'm going to assume price is going to go up here like it has every time in the past. Once you get bullish LDPM crossovers, price seeks out the next big liquidity level, which is going to be the 4-hour LDPM. And I'm not going to trust along until I see those bullish crossovers. But the thing is, 15-minute LDPM is bullish. And if, this purple line continues to move down, then price should continue to see upside. Someone asks, how do you remove the box with LDPM on the top left graph? You go to LDPM, and you click on tables, and you click it off. So I'm just waiting here. Again, this trade personally is not for me, but I do think there's a good chance price gets up here. You can see this 5-minute crossover could happen soon. Maybe 15 could happen next. And once that happens, then we have to consider that price is going to come up to 4-hour LDPM. And I hope now you guys can see why I didn't trust that long. Because price has rejected hourly LDPM every single time up until now. And so I personally need to see it prove itself for me. I need to see these bullish crossovers before I even think about getting bullish. Until then, just in level jail over here. Yeah, see, you can't expect too much of a boost from 5-minute LDPM. Looks like that may have been the upside for now. And obviously, it's going to largely depend on if these crossovers happen or not, but hourly LDPM has been a great place to short this entire time. And then again, with hourly velo at the worst possible that it's been this whole thing, you have to expect a huge rejection off the 5-minute trigger, or at least a bear plane off of the 5-minute trigger. Also keep in mind that it's OPEX, so things may trade a little bit weirder than normal. So again, we're in the process here. It's either going to be a bullish crossover or not, and you'll easily be able to catch a lot of the move if it does become a bullish crossover. Yeah, this looks bearish. 5-minute LDPM moving back above price. This looks like we could head right back down. So again, every single time hourly LDPM has been a great place to short. Every single time. Without fail. Basically, like that's where they're waiting to get short again. That's where like the big short liquidity is waiting for price to move up to it and then selling it there. Eventually, bulls are going to break it, but there's no reason to constantly bet on this time being the break. It's way better to me, for me at least, to wait until it can prove itself. Especially when we've been going down this hard, why try to time counter trend moves? So this probably won't get hit right here. But that would have been a great short if we did get up there. So again, you could see price action is pretty stale right here, which is why I didn't want to go live this morning. But then I missed you guys, so I was like, fuck it, let's do it. Pretty stale price action, not much movement in either direction. There was a bearish close here. If you see 10 o'clock right here on the screen, 9:59. This was a bear close, so I went short here. And I just waited and waited and waited. And because hourly velo is so strong, I thought the 1-minute trigger would provide a rejection. I added a drop more here. knowing that it was a bear close. And as we started selling, I sold half here, sold another half here, and I got rid of my last 5 over here. So that was a great way to start the day for me. So now that the 15 crossed above the half hour, you would expect a little bit more support here because they're in a 5 above 15 above half hour becomes much more supportive, and you could see price getting that nice bounce. So let's see if this crossover works or if it doesn't work. And if you see a full candle close below these levels, then it's time to get short again. All right, 5 minute now turning away from price. So that's a little more bullish. That's something we definitely have to keep in mind. The thing is that like, even if it does get these crossovers, I wonder what will be stronger, the 5 minute trigger acting as rejection with, really strong negative hourly velocity, or the bullish LDPM crossover taking us up to 4-hour LDPM. So I'm wondering what will be stronger if these bullish crossovers end up happening. But for now, I don't really see a great trade here. Again, I'm down to go long this to here. That looks like a great long. But, besides this, I don't like trading this range right here. Too many uncertainties for me personally. So with 5-minute LDPM moving away from price, you would expect a little boost here. Maybe we do end up tagging the 5-minute trigger, but I feel like this has to be a short with the most extreme hourly velo print. That's how I feel about it. But if these get their bullish crossovers, I don't know how keen I'd be on shorting. So again, right now, just patience. Let something develop. It's also 1056, so bull close above this level. You got to assume we're going up here. If we come crashing down below this level at, in the next 4 minutes, then we have to assume we're headed back to 433.57. So I don't love this range for trading. I'd rather stay away from this range. But if there's a bullish break above or a bearish break below, I'll go short or long. While we're in level jail, yes, I had that. I was I was like freaked out too. I was like, what the hell is this? But then I went to Doge, and there was also like a Doge on the chart. So I figured someone at TradingView decided to be funny. Yeah, this kind of makes a little more sense. Price moving flat while the 5-minute trigger comes down to meet price. Because just look at the HV, right? Hourly velo is just at its worst right now. So tough for price to make a bullish progression. But again, this is the longest by far that price has been above hourly LDPM in a long time. Here was the last time, I guess. This fail, was this? Hold on, let me see something. Interesting. So this failed, but usually once you get these crossovers, you'll head up to 4-hour LDPM. So this is some really good progression. And again, 5-minute LDPM did turn away from price, telling us that liquidity is still good here. So if we do finally hit the 5-minute trigger, it's not too surprising, but I didn't like this long setup until I get that bullish confirmation on the hourly LDPM. So let's see if we come up and tag the 5-minute trigger right now. There's obviously some kind of weird support at the 435 level. We had, already a couple of rejections off it. So if we break through 435, assume we're just going to tag the 5-minute trigger. What happens there? That's a good question, because we'll be bullish on the LDPMs, but hourly velocity is really bad. So I'd be very curious to see what ends up happening at the 5-minute trigger. This is when you get to see in real live action what has more weight: LDPM getting above hourly LDPM, price getting above hourly LDPM, which is obviously very bullish, or price hitting the 5-minute trigger with velocity at its worst, which is obviously very bearish. So I'm very curious to see what happens here. In the end of the day, usually I'd put more weight on LDPM because that's, it's measuring liquidity. It's telling you if there's good liquidity or bad liquidity. But it's very possible that even if we get kind of through this 5-minute trigger, this will end up bear planing. So there it is. The long ended up working out with price moving above hourly LDPM, and now we'll probably head up to 4-hour LDPM. 4-hour LDPM can also be a great place to get short again. So yeah, I mean, this is just, you spend 4 candles above hourly LDPM. Like I said a couple of minutes ago, the longer we spend above hourly LDPM, the more convincing it is, the more probable it is that we end up getting that break above. So we got up here. It's very nice. It's 11:01, so we did get a bearish close. And what I'm going to expect here is a bear plane. I think we're going to bear plane here, 1-minute trigger, come up to the 5-minute trigger, and price sell down below it. But we'll see if I'm wrong or not. Again, price definitely looks like it wants to head up to 4-hour LDPM right here. So again, the 5-minute trigger itself doesn't have to reject price, because you could see 5-minute velo barely even negative. But the hourly velo is telling us that instead of a bullish cross, instead of the 1-minute trigger crossing bullishly above the 5-minute trigger, instead what you're going to expect is the 1-minute trigger to come up to the 5-minute trigger and price to actually sell down below both of them. So again, the 5-minute trigger doesn't have to provide a rejection just because hourly velo is negative, but because hourly velo is strong negative and it's worse than it was 3 hours ago, clearly you would expect a bear plane to form here. So this is how I would draw it out. 1-minute trigger to climb, 5-minute trigger keep going sideways, and then 1-minute trigger rejection. And price to at some point sell through here. Then once it does, it usually goes slow at first and then sells down like that. We also got a bearish close below 435.57, but I'm not in a rush to short because LDPMs are in a little gap up here. So not the cleanest trading day. I mean, we had a very good inkling that price would get up here, and it did. It wasn't a long that I loved, but now with hourly velo where it is right now, let's just see if this bear plane plays out. With the bearish close below 435.57, that lends a little bit more probability that the bear plane will end up happening. But I'd be curious if price taps 4-hour LDPM first. So damn, maybe I should have taken that long. Would have been pretty nice, to be honest. So again, if you want to get short right here based off the bearish close below 435.57, and then only cover the short, only buy the puts, either if you go into profit or if there's a bullish close above 435.57, you want to just play the levels, then that could probably work. Because this was a bearish close, more than likely price can head down here. The reason why I'm not taking the short personally is because I feel like LDPM wants to I feel like once price is in this air pocket, I feel like it can end up here. Now, that could mean we go up and then we reject. Probably it would be around here. We go up and then we get pulled back down below the level. Just because there's a bearish close doesn't mean price can't get above, but it does mean that even if price gets above, it'll likely get pulled back down within the hour. So maybe the 4-hour LDPM would be a great place to get short if we make one last push higher there. I still think the odds favor a bear plane and not a bullish cross, but I'm willing to adapt. If we do get a bullish cross, we get a bullish close above here, that's my long up to 437.40. So again, I didn't really want to play this range. I wanted to play a bullish close above here or a bearish close below here. This middle range didn't really interest me that much. So with LDPM moving above hourly LDPM, almost more than likely, it usually heads up to 4-hour LDPM. That's just how the system works. So we'll see if it gets up there and then rejects. Again, getting short right here isn't a bad idea as long as you stop out on a bullish close above. Yeah, so the LDPM 55 has also provided, all the rejections for price to come back down. Steve, you can tag Gavin in the chat and he'll send you the levels. So again, this really all started from this bullish 5-minute crossover. So we ended up getting a lot more than I thought we would. That is the power of these bullish crossovers. You get long on the crossover and you sell on the when 5-minute LDPM moves back above price. At the end of the day, I kind of regret not getting long here because, again, price was making some heavy progression above hourly LDPM. Now that I think about it, like there was already a couple of candles above it, but it's okay. So with 5-minute LPM still so far below price, getting me very curious here. So you have pretty conflicting information, right? We have a bearish close here. We have an expected bear plane. Let's move this over. We haven't, whatever, let me just delete these. So we have a bearish close. We have an expected bear plane waiting to happen. But we also have price in this air pocket up to 4-hour LDPM. So what do you guys think wins here? I think personally the bearish close and the bear plane will win. But I've seen price hit the 4-hour LDPM many, many times. So again, there's a short here. If you guys want a short, there's definitely a short here. The short is just get short as long as this level doesn't crack. That's the short. It's 11:07, so if in 23 minutes price is above this level, you would just close it out. So there's definitely a play if you want it. Let's see if the bear plane happens now. Again, you could have just went short on the bearish level close, not even watching triggers LDPM. You just wanted to play the levels. Maybe I should have also taken that short. So still didn't get the 15-minute crossover. So no real confirmation that we're headed up here yet. Looks like we're about to get it. So that's why I'm hesitant to short. I like taking trades when everything agrees with each other. Right now, the levels, triggers, and velocity point to a bear plane and more downside, but LDPMs point to a little more upside. Now, I would not expect it to be able to get above daily LDPM, but it's very possible that it could push up here. So because it's conflicting, I just sit it out. SNDL. So bullish trigger cross retest this morning, and it, had a successful retest. And LDPMs are stacked fully bullishly. 5, 15 hourly, 4 hour, daily, weekly, and 2 weeks. So I have to hold this position. Whatever happens, happens. But I have to hold this position because LDPMs are stacked bullishly. Hopefully, daily trigger crosses above the weekly trigger, and then we get BOX instability, and then it would be pretty sick. Okay, I know what Velo looks like, so I don't know if I have to look at it. Let's see if it's coming up to 4-hour LDPM. Now, LDPMs are very strong, so I usually give more weight to LDPMs than everything else. And again, like I said, once you get above hourly LDPM, price is almost always going to push up to 4-hour. So yeah, I think the best long would have been right here when 5-minute LDPM moved away from price, signaling that, hourly was flipping bullish. And even with the levels on the triggers, and then, you could always just cut the trade if 5-minute LDPM moves above price, but this looks like we're getting up to 4-hour LDPM right here. That's what this looks like. What's my take on Tilray? I mean, it's pretty much the same exact setup as SNDL, right? Got the hourly above the weekly, daily trigger crossing, LDPMs probably stacked bullishly. Yeah, so same thing as SNDL. All right, let's see what happens. Still got some time if we're going to bear plane. Also could have just went long on the 5-minute crossover. Yeah, Tory, very possible fills its air pocket. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Looks very strong. So does SNDL. Okay, let's see. This is a good experiment. See if it ends up bear planing or if the LDPMs outweigh the triggers and velo and the bearish close. See, with 5-minute LDPM this far below price has just been steadily increasing, which you would expect with 5-minute LDPM below price. We're getting closer and closer to our target on ES. Now, what I'd be most curious about is if we get here, is it going to be a tough rejection and we send right back down? Or if we're gonna break through and even move up to daily LDPM, which I would definitely expect to reject. Yeah, it'll probably line up with this as well, which I also definitely expect to reject. So it looks like we're moving through the 33. Yeah, this is starting to look progressively more and more bullish, but not bullish up to the hourly trigger, bullish maybe till here, and then maybe we come right back down again, step by step. As of now, nothing's telling me we're going to head back down besides for the bearish close and the triggers. But LDPMs are pointing to more upside for sure, without even a doubt. Let's see if we get right in here to the 4-hour LDPM. And again, things were conflicting, so I don't feel the need to trade when things are conflicting. I didn't really want to trade at all today because it's OPEX and things are always a little more tricky. But especially when not everything is lining up, I just stay away. But I am super curious because velocity definitely says we bear plane here. And we also had a bearish level close. But LDPMs look like we're getting to at least 4 hour, if not all the way up here to 55 LDPM. You can see 5 minute is just still pointing below price, telling you liquidity is super good here. So we'll see how it plays out. Running out of time for a bear plane, that's for sure. It's starting to look a little melty. Yeah, we're gonna hit 4 hour LDPM right now. Watch this. It's gonna spike up right into it, and then the question is if that's a rejection or we keep going. Based on all of this, things look pretty good right now. Things look pretty bullish right now. So we're gonna hit 4 hour LDPM almost for sure. I would say maybe even 55, but that's when we have to start, thinking about getting short again. Don't let your mindset start flipping to bullish and think, okay, everything's beautiful now. We're going to head up all the way to the hourly trigger. That's a dangerous mindset because, again, look at every time price moved up to 55 LDPM. It failed to get the lower time frame LDPMs to cross over. So if the lower time frame LDPMs, all these white ones, cross above the blue, then now LDPMs are going to be stacked bullishly again, and then we could think about going long. But over here, you have to expect some sort of rejection like in this area. Did we tap 4 hour? I mean, we got within pennies, so I would say that's close enough. But yeah, looks like we're not going to get the bear plane. We'll see. We have a few more minutes, but right now it doesn't look like we're going to get the bear plane. It looks like we'll probably head up to 437.40 or 436.32. Let's see. Again, just to simplify everything, if we didn't look at anything else besides our 5 minute bullish crossover, happened down here at 434.19. Now we're $1.60 higher, 70 cents higher. So here comes the bullish trigger cross. I feel like we're going to still tap this level. This also looks pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, I got to say, now that, the bear plane worry is over, things look pretty good for more upside. But again, watch out at this level because 4 hour LDPM can provide a rejection. Wow, so interesting how even with the most extreme negative velo print, we ended up getting a bullish trigger cross. That's very telling. Looks like bears are slipping here. So next level I'd want to see is 436.32. Above there, we could probably push all the way up here. Where's the 55? 436.41. So again, I wouldn't get overly bullish here and be like, all right, we're going to the moon. But if we get through 4 hour, get through here, get some crossovers, then we can really start getting bullish again. Then it looks like the downside for now is pretty much over. So it's 11.18. Maybe if we get a bull close above this level, I'll take a long higher. But for now, with price so close to 4 hour LDPM, going long here isn't the best move for me because I'm expecting some pretty hefty resistance in this area, whether it's from 4 hour LDPM or whether it's from 55 LDPM. And there's no bullish signs in the data yesterday, so I'm not betting on like a full reversion here back to bullish until I see a lot like either sold puts, which could be happening today, or something else more convincing. then I can't be like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time where we finally turn bullish again. I can't say that until, wow, we really got within pennies of it. I can't say that until I see something in the data that tells me that, now I can be bullish. Because with VOX and the PZ, no matter how good the upside looks, at some point you have to just expect price to come crashing back down, and we've seen it over the entire past week. Again, don't forget that the close was bearish, which means that it's possible that price still sells down below this level within the next 10 minutes. If you get a bullish half-hour close, then it makes more sense we're headed up here. If you want signs that the upside is more than likely over, just watch for 5-minute LDPM crossing above price. Then everything else will probably take care of itself with time. But once 5-minute LDPM crosses above price, then you can assume that for now, this was all we had for the day. You can assume that we're just going to head straight back down. Now, this trigger cross, it doesn't mean we're bullish yet. We have to retest it and bounce. So it can still very possibly be a bear plane here. Let's see what so 5-minute velo didn't do anything crazy yet. There's also, 5-minute velo didn't do anything crazy yet, so we can't expect this to provide support. I'm expecting a big fat rejection anywhere in this green box or up here like 30 cents higher. Watch 5-minute LDPM. If 5-minute LDPM moves above price and closes a 5-minute candle above it, then assume for now upside is over. We also saw this in the 15-minute LDPM. You guys remember this bullish crossover? So 15-minute LDPM crossover led to some really nice price improvement. I remember right here, 434.86 is when we noticed the 15-minute bullish crossover, and we moved $1 higher. So if the 4-hour LDPM is going to provide a rejection, then we would see 5-minute LDPM come up to price near the 4-hour LDPM, come up and move above price. So it looks like it did have a successful retest and bounce. And we got 8 minutes left till the half-hour close. And again, price action is relatively slow, so don't expect any sudden fast moves. You can see just chop here and a very slow, controlled grind up. But again, I mean, like I said, using the LDPM gaps to your advantage is very important. When LDPMs are spread out, then it's very easy for price to move through one LDPM to another. Also here, they were very spread out, like I said, because of the gap down. So again, the tighter they are, the harder it is for price to get through. But when they're fairly spread apart, especially like here, then you would expect price to be able to get up to the next LDPM level. So it's a very key aspect of trading with LDPM. Also, when price is at a key LDPM and 5-minute LDPM spikes away from price, the lower time frame LDPM spikes away from price, that's what's telling you that it just transitioned from resistance to support. Price is hanging out on a higher time frame LDPM, like the 1 hour, 5-minute LDPM moves away from price. That's the sign that, okay, now 1 hour LDPM has flipped from resistance to support. 4-hour LDPM, doesn't tend to be the rejection. It usually ends up being daily LDPM. So I'm not sure this will act as resistance yet, but I do know that we're getting pretty close to some strong resistances. And I also know that I'd much rather trade this to the short side than the long side due to the fact that VOX is in PZ. So I'm hoping, we get a bearish 5-minute crossover and we could just get short and stay short until 5-minute moves back below price. But we'll take what the market gives us. So we got 6 minutes left to see if this is a bull close or a bear close. And I wouldn't be, what I just do? And I wouldn't be ultra confident in this bullish cross meaning anything until I see 5-minute velo get a lot higher than where it is now. Right now, there's barely any 5-minute velo. You can see in comparison, I'd want to see, like a couple of candles in a row where it starts increasing, and then I'd get more bullish. So price is trying to decide if it wants to close above this level or below this level. We could just wait to see what they have in store for us. But just keep in mind, if 5-minute LDPM moves above price, then more than likely we're going right back down to 15-minute at least. Maybe we could catch that short if it happens. Personally, that's the short that I would want to see, because then I know we could get right back to 430, 434, especially if we start moving below these triggers. So keep a close eye out here on 5-minute LDPM and see how that reacts to price. If it spikes above it, then closes the 5-minute candle above it, then more than likely 4-hour LDPM provided the resistance and we're on our way back down. So yeah, remember the hourly close was bearish, so even though we moved above, we expected to get pulled back in during the hour. And also velocity was at its most bearish, so we were expecting a bear plane. This looks a little bit overextended, but this can easily be the bear plane right here. So I'm getting ready to go short. I'd love another 5 minutes left for confirmation that we got the bearish close, so I'm not going to rush it. And I also want to see a full candle close below 5-minute LDPM. So it's 11:26 right now. You have to wait another 4 minutes till you get that candle close. But if you want to go short, try to time it earlier and close if the close in 4 minutes is above here. That could also probably work out. It all depends on your risk tolerance, your risk profile, whatever you want to call it. Remember, velocity told us to expect this bear plane. All I want to see is this next candle close below 5-minute LDPM, and that'll be the sign for me to short, and especially if we're below this level. So if in 4 minutes we close below here, 435.57, and this candle closes below 5-minute LDPM, I'm going to get short with the plan to sell either over here or at 15-minute LDPM. Maybe half and half. If we close above this level, then we have to consider the fact that we may push up all the way to daily LDPM. Because with 4-hour in the way, but a bullish close above here, I would expect it to get ran over. So two things are going to happen here. Either liquidity is going to turn good and 5-minute LDPM is going to move away from price, or liquidity is going to turn bad and 5-minute LDPM is going to move above price, and we'll know in 3 minutes. Remember, the hourly close was bearish, so we expect 435.57 to act as resistance. And 4-hour LDPM to act as resistance, which it did right here. Once you see us sell below the 5-minute trigger, just assume we're going much lower. So 5-minute LDPM looks like it's moving above price here. So I'd be starting to get a little more bearish here. Two more minutes till the close. Let's see what happens. And if we close below 5-minute LDPM and below this level, then we can short it right back down here. I already entered some shorts just in case it sells before I get a chance to get in. Now, 15-minute LDPM could provide a bounce, so look out for that, but we could also just sell right down. Now again, remember that the sell side action is very slow and controlled and like a walk down. So entered a starter put position. I'll close it if in 2 minutes the hourly closes above here. But just remember, don't expect this to just sell straight down like it would in a normal market. Expect it to be slow, controlled, a lot of upside fake outs, and then eventually get down. Nothing fast, nothing strong, nothing like that. The downside is painful. a painful trade to sit in. You got to be very, very, very patient. You want to actually make money off downside. So 1 more minute. If we close above this level, I'm going to exit my puts. If we close below, I'll probably add the second half. Yeah, this makes sense. Rejected before here. And, velocity told us don't expect a bullish crossover. That was this velocity print being super extreme to the downside. Now, if you're in puts, there's a very good chance that we get a strong bounce here. So, you may want to sell on 15-minute LDPM. And then if not, you can just close back once 5-minute LDPM moves back above price. Remember, downside is going to be, we did get the bearish close. Downside is going to be heavy, sticky, very annoying. So don't expect any quick moves down. Now you want to sell right when price hits here. That's fine. If you want to take that gain, I'll probably just take it there. So if price taps here, probably get a bounce because it's above hourly LDPM. So you expect it to be stronger resistance. And again, I don't like sitting through all the chop. I actually hate it. So it's like when I do play puts, I like to just take the money and then run. If you want to, sit all the way through it based on the hourly close, we do expect to come back here. If the triggers cross down, even more. But again, because 15-minute is above hourly now, you do expect this to be a pretty good support level. And we would have to see 5-minute LDPM start moving higher if we're going to break down below. Let's see if these triggers end up crossing down. And again, it's a very easy stop loss because you can just stop out on any bullish close above here. But otherwise, we do expect to eventually get down here. If you trusted the levels and you shorted any pop above it, you're sitting nicely in profit right now. Let's see if the 15-minute, provides support or we're able to knife through it. I think it's going to be able to provide support because it's above the hourly LDPM, so it's a little stronger for bulls. And if we're really going to head down here, I want to see this bearish crossover again. You see 5-minute LDPM move back below price. You can, you can get out of your shorts if you're in shorts. Again, just remember, downside, if there's going to be downside, is going to be so slow and controlled. So don't expect anything easy or quick or anything like that. And again, easy stop loss if you move above this level. So it's, 20-cent risk about. Yeah, 5-minute LDPM already coming down to price. Looks a little bit more bullish than I would assume, than I would have thought originally. But again, the LDPMs are stacked a little bullishly, so that may not have been the best short. But we did get a bearish close, so that's kind of what I was going with. I'm probably going to close it if we get any, candles above this level. But for now, I'm going to trust the bearish close. Not in anything with big size, especially on OPEC, so I have no problem sitting through this pop. Again, I kind of expected 15-minute tactic support, but due to the bearish close, I figured why not try this short. So with 5-minute LDPM, it's not confirmation until you get a 5-minute candle close above. So we'll see if this level continues to provide resistance. But if I see anything start to move above here, I'm just going to close it out. Right now, my hope is that we just sell right through all these LDPM levels and come back down here. But if I see, any candle start to move above here, I'm just going to exit for a small loss. Right now, I'm down 4%. Just trusting the bearish close and hoping that it'll bring us down to this level. Again, always remember, downside is going to be super sticky, annoying, not quick and fast and easy to make money on. They really like making downside a painful experience for those that buy puts. And also remember that with 15-minute above hourly, we kind of expect this to provide a support. So we are shorting against that. That's a little nerve-wracking. What we would love to see is 50. Yeah, see, that doesn't look bearish to me. What I would love to see is 15-minute LDPM move above price, and then I'd be a lot more confident in downside. For now, it's like very iffy, and the basis of the short is really just the bearish close. So if 15-minute LDPM moves above price, that would be fantastic. So what I would want to see is this to sell right through this level. That would be the optimal thing for more downside. Then for hourly LDPM, if it's going to act as support or not, we'll know based on 5-minute LDPM. So again, we are shorting against a bullish 15-minute LDPM. It's never usually the smart thing to do, but based on this hourly close, based on VOX and PZ, I'm going to assume that every upside move ends up failing until it proves me wrong. Okay, this is not looking bearish, but still going to trust the level until I see a break above it. Instead of sweating on the position, I'm just going to put a stop loss that'll get hit at like 435.65. If I get stopped out, I'm okay with it. It's going to be an 8% loss. Yeah, looks like we want to head back up to 4-hour LDPM, but I just don't know if this level is going to continue to provide resistance or not. Honestly, it looks like we could break right through it. So I'm really not in love with this short. But risk is tight, and it felt like worth it to take it. You can see if bullish liquidity starts to run out and exhaust itself against this level or not, based on 5 and 15-minute LDPM. But with 5 and 15 above hourly, it's not really the smartest thing to short, which is why I'm not in like a full-size trade here. But with the bearish close, kind of like I'm just hoping that we end up selling down here. Like if we do, it'll be a really nice gain, even with a small size position. So easy stop loss if we move back above this level. And if not, I'm hoping we can get down here. But with 5-minute LDPM now moving back below price, things are looking a little bit more bullish. But again, it's 11:37, so you would need a full 5-minute candle to confirm that. For now, again, simply trusting the levels and willing to easily stop out right above here. If you took puts expecting anything quickly down, you're in the wrong market, because in this market, puts are a painful trade. Calls, they actually, when we go up, we go up pretty nicely. But for whatever reason, right now in the current state of the market, the downside moves are super slow, controlled, walked down, while the upside moves are pretty nice and strong. So again, I'm taking the short because we know VOX is in propagation zone. So we know we're in an unstable market, and unstable markets tend to go down. I didn't see anything bullish in the reports tonight that would justify, flipping bullish yet. So anytime we get a bearish close and we're right at the level, so like I have an easy stop loss in case things go wrong, then I'm just going to take the short. And if things go wrong, I could quickly stop out, less than a 10% loss. If things go right, I can make 30-40% down here. So honestly, the price action that I see right now in LDPMs make me think that price wants to come back to 4-hour, but that's easy to stop out right above here if that's going to happen. But to turn bullish just yet, I'm not ready to do that. Not ready to do that just yet. I would have to see something more convincing in the data. So price is holding 15-minute LDPM. Don't expect any downside until and unless 15-minute LDPM moves above price. Yeah, this is a very painful short. Not much going on at all. Very choppy action. But whatever. We just have to wait and see and let it play out. Nothing really left to do besides stop out above here or close the position down here. Either we're going to lose these LDPMs or we're not. And after this trade, I'll probably hang it up for the day because, again, the action looks very weak. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of fun. And maybe if things, pick up, I'll get back live at like 2 p.m. or something like that. So here's finally that test of the 15-minute LDPM. So if you want to sell here, very possible that this will act as support. I'm up 5%, but again, yeah, this will probably act as support. So maybe not a bad place to sell right here. If you want the 5%, trying to figure out if I should just sell it or not. So if I sell, we're going to come back down here. And if I don't sell, okay, so we lost. It looks like we're losing 15-minute. I'm up 10% here. I'm going to take the win. It's 150 bucks, so I'm going to take it. And I'm out. All right, GG's, guys. That was a nice trade. Probably going to be more down here. But, probably get to the level, but whatever. I made the money, and I sold it. Don't care. All right, so I also sold because we're hitting hourly LDPM. And although I think we end up breaking through here, 30% win. Yeah, there's the beer plane. So Velocity called it, right? Worst hourly velocity print was right here. So we had to expect this bear plane to happen. Yeah, it did get a little bit of a move higher. Nothing crazy. It's not saying it's a false bear plane because at the end of the day, the retest here didn't actually hit any of the triggers. Yeah, now we're gonna come crashing down. By the way, we're gonna hit this level. Let me just draw it out for you guys. And again, like I told you guys a million times, if you sell when I sell, you're basically telling yourself, I like pain, because I know we're coming down here. But when I had to sit in a trade that long, if I get profit, I'm just going to take it. So yeah, I could have made another couple $100 by holding on for longer, but whatever. I didn't know if hourly LDPM would I didn't know if hourly LDPM would provide support or not. It looks like it's not going to provide support. It looks like we're going to sell down, at least get down to this level, if not even more downside. But profit's profit, like Anjo just said. At the end of the day, we won the trade. I'm just going to check the history. So I bought them. I got filled at 1.42, the 434 puts, and then I sold them at 1.59 for a $15 gain per contract, and I was in 10 contracts. I wanted to do 20, but I didn't want to short with 20 contracts when price was still above 15-minute LDPM. But yeah, there's your bounce off hourly LDPM, which is the reason why I sold, and I sold it right here. I think right here. Maybe a drop higher, but I think right here. So again, I wasn't sure if this would bounce or not, and I already sat in this trade for like 15 minutes, and I was kind of done with it. So as soon as we got that sell, I'm out, but I'm going to assume that we're going to end up selling through. All right, guys, so if you hit the trade, let me know in the chat. You needed like at least 5-10 contracts to make any meaningful money, but whatever. At least it worked. Bearish hourly close, Boex and propagation. We already rejected the 4-hour LDPM. Now this would have been a great short, guys. We shorted this, that would have been a lot better. Nick got 20% on it. Very, very nice. Very well done. All right, so yeah, we could have hit this long trade as well. We did have a good feeling it was going up, but I was being more risk adverse because of the I wanted price to prove itself that it could break above the LDPM level. But again, it did prove itself when 5-minute LDPM started moving away from price here, and I missed that. That was on me. I should have went long as soon as 5-minute LDPM started moving away. We would have caught the long up here, and then we would have caught the short back here. So missed this long, but we did win our only trade for the day, so not too shabby. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if there's good action later, I have no problem getting right back on live. Takes me 2 seconds to go, and I'll just post it on the chat. But for right now, like this looks trapped between 2 LDPM levels. You could trade it up and down using 5-minute crossovers, but like I feel like it's just better to wait till something breaks. Like I said from the very beginning when we were here, I don't want to trade this level because too much clustering going on here. I'd rather give me It's 11:44, so give me like a close above here, give me a close below here, and I'll go longer short. Okay. Guys, just wanted to say to all you that came in every single day this week, Simon, Mr. Clean, um, Andrew Letner, Anjo, Steve M, JD, who am I missing? Nick, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've seen you guys every single day here. So I really hope, Fisherman, can't forget about you. Some person, can't forget about you either. I know Christopher, of course. I know the trading this week was a little stale and there wasn't much Unisol, of course, every day. I know the trading wasn't anything special, and looking back at it in a longer time frame, if we zoom out and we see how easy it really was to trade this downside, I feel a little bit like a fool because technically this was really easy to short. Hourly velo stepping down, hourly below the daily, short every time price gets to the 5-minute trigger, worked out perfectly this entire time. Shorting every time price moved to the 5-minute trigger worked perfectly. So it's like, at the end of the day, I look back at this and I was like, damn, I was a fool because I was trading this move, I was trading this move, I was trading this move. Instead, I should have been trading the downside. But listen, it's a learning experience for us all. This is my first time trading the market when VOX was in propagation zone. When I signed up for deep dive stocks a year ago, VOX was in stability since then in the inhibition zone. So this is my first time really experiencing VOX in propagation zone. And as you guys can see, it works really well. So for next time, I'll understand that much better. I'll understand the lack of stability in the market leads to downside. I'll understand the daily trigger above the hourly trigger, this bearish crossover. I should only be focused on shorting, not going long. But something kept in like the back of my mind. For some reason, I just thought that this would resolve bullshit. I just thought that it would be an airplane. And the reason why I thought that is because when I go to weekly velocity, we'll end off with this. When I go to weekly velocity, I didn't see any bearish divergences. I saw the high with the weekly velocity high. So I thought that the triggers won't cross, it'll turn into a airplane and we're going to continue going higher. But I was wrong. And I guess, even with no bearish divergences on the weekly velocity, I didn't expect the price to come down to the weekly trigger. That doesn't mean that the crossover won't happen. It just means that more than likely price won't end up getting to the weekly trigger. It'll probably turn before that. But I have to do a better job understanding that if VOX is in the propagation zone, triggers will tell you the live action, but VOX will predict it beforehand. So I should have just understood that with VOX and the PZ, we have to expect this bearish trigger cross. Now, I also want to speak about this because this was super important. There were 3 clear bearish daily divergences into the top. Here was your highest print, and then you have a new high, followed by a second new high, followed by a third new high. And that was 3 bearish daily divergences. And just like when you have 3 5-minute bearish divergences, the one will usually end up crossing below the 5 and head back to the hourly trigger. Even though when there's 3 bearish divergences, it's not just saying prices headed back to the trigger. It's saying the move is exhausted, expected to reverse immediately. So, I have to do a better job as a market forecaster. And by the way, I just want to tell you guys this. I was preaching about these three bearish divergences on Meme Stock Watch for like 2 weeks. This whole move, I was preaching downside, 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 because I kind of counted it over here. This was my third bearish divergence. For whatever reason, I think I counted this one. Yeah, I counted this one originally, and then this one, and then this one. So for this entire move, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, I was calling for downside. I was like, yeah, we're headed back to the daily trigger. And we just kept going up, and I looked like a fool, and I sounded like a fool. And then right here, I was like, okay, honestly, I guess the 3 bearish divergences aren't working. I guess we're just super bullish. And so, whatever, I'm just going to be bullish. Literally 3 days later, we're at the daily trigger. So I gotta I have a lot of work to improve on. I'm far from perfect. Even though the tools work, it's up to the interpreter to give a correct forecast. And I failed at that this time, but I do hope to be able to, call a nice bottom and forecast the entire move back up. Because at the end of the day, it's really hard to believe that we're about to plunge through the weekly trigger and go back to 400. It's really hard to believe. I mean, man, I don't know. If that happens, I'd just be in shock, to be honest. So I'm hoping that we get some sort of bounce here. Hourly trigger, daily trigger keeps coming down. We get a huge airplane and we soar to new all-time highs. And if that happens, we will make a crap ton of money. Okay. So, just keep that in mind. That if we eventually turn bullish soon off the weekly trigger, we're going to destroy this move up. We're going to go long all the right names. We're going to see the bottom with all the sold puts on a bunch of big tech names. Like everything's going to be very crystal clear. So patience. The last part of this downside, don't be obsessed with trading it. Hopefully we start getting a turn soon. And if we get to trade upside again, we're going to be so heavily prepared. So with that, have a great weekend, everybody. And hope you guys are able to learn stuff from the streams. I'll see you guys next week.